Let's go back to the story of Mephibosheth for a moment. When David called him into the household and he met him for the first time, Mephibosheth was afraid, and the first thing David says is, "Don't be afraid," which actually is very empathetic. He identified with what Mephibosheth was feeling, was very compassionate, he was very kind, but also he says, "Here's what I'm going to do. Don't be afraid, Mephibosheth, because what I'm going to do to you." He could have very easily given him just a little gift and said, "Hey, it's nice to meet you. I hope this will be a blessing to you," and sent him off. But no, there's a generosity in the graciousness. He says, "Here's what I'm doing. I'm going to restore to you all the land your daddy had, your granddaddy had, I should say." Can you imagine? How much land do you think Saul had? He had a lot. He was king, okay? Had a lot of land. He said, "I'm going to restore to you all that land, and by the way, we're going to get somebody else to farm it for you because we know you can't farm it." And so that's generosity. And let's add to that, you're going to be at my table every day. And when my family comes around, you're part of the family now. And so you just come in and sit at my table. Don't feel ashamed of being a part of the family. You're now in my family as well. I would say that David was demonstrating great generosity. Would you agree with me? And dear ones, I think one of the things that will help us in our lives is to get past stinginess and giving. I'm not just talking about finances here. That's another message for another time. I think it applies to that as well. But so many times we live from the standpoint of scarcity. If I give of my time, or if I give of my energy, or if I even give of my finances, or whatever it might be, that there's not going to be enough for me. But David had this mindset of saying, no, it's really not about holding on. It's about pouring out. And one of the things that I am learning and have learned over the years, and it's kind of a statement perhaps you've heard before, but it's so very true. You cannot outgive God. You can't outgive Him. Because when you give to God and give to other people in His name, there's something of a reciprocity that flows back. I'm not talking about some kind of weird, strange prosperity theology. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact that God, I believe this principle to be true, that if God can get it through you, He'll get it to you. Okay? But He wants to get it through you. We're blessed to be a blessing. And so David understood this. He was gracious. He was generous in his dealings.